Surf's Up was a certified 2007 classic. If you haven't heard about it for some godforsaken reason, it was an animated mockumentary in 2007 about an angsty teen and his journey to prove himself to the world. And fuck, dude, I love this movie, man. It's so good. The movie actually sits on a shelf labeled My Collection of Movies slash Media slash Entertainment that was exceedingly enjoyable and nice. See, look, there it is. Ah. But the best part of the movie, bar none, was some foul motherfucker named Chicken Joe. The movie was itself incredibly enjoyable, don't get me wrong. I mean, we open up with the story of a depressed suburban loser and you peek into his life a bit. Ah, dude, that's just so. And then you're told he has a dream of winning a surfing contest in order to prove his value as an individual? Who wouldn't want to root for a character like that? It's a great formula for building a coming of age story, and all of the right pieces are there. He even has a mentor. He finds one in some fuck you jungle to guide him as well. He learns gradually that life isn't about winning or being the best, it's about being in the moment, finding enjoyment, and finding yourself. You know, the plot advances, and he doesn't win the contest, but he's found himself, and he's much happier for it. Now, I just gave a very rough summary of the movie, but I just want to focus on one thing I briefly mentioned. The lesson at the end of Cody's story, it's hard to adopt. The entire movie is about Cody self-actualizing. The very nature of self-actualization is hard. In fact, in many coming-of-age stories, there's hardly any characters other than the protagonist at the end who espouse and live those ideals. Even Z, Cody's mentor, even his story is that of relearning the truth he teaches to Cody. It isn't about winning or being the best, it's about beauty. It's about being. Expecting a character to infallibly champion that truth is like expecting a coin to only have one side. It's almost paradoxical when considering the difficulty with which that lifestyle implies. However, there is one character, one lone hero that shows us the ideals perfected through the whole film. Chicken Joe. It's not a stretch for me to say that Chicken Joe is my favorite aspect of the movie, mainly because I have a habit of liking stoner slash enlightened archetypal, inserts. I made a video last year about Sassy the Sasquatch. He's basically the same sort of character. He presents as a bumbling sort of burnout, but when the time comes, he suddenly, invariably, becomes exceedingly competent. Sassy is stoned all of the time, but he can suddenly offer timeless wisdom and previously unseen skill. In that same way, Chicken Joe just acts like a lazy, lovable dunce, but when he serves, he's fucking, dude, he's cranking it. He's dirty. And the best parts, I think, aren't even of the few moments we see him in the surfing mindset, but all of his other carefree moments. Like our first look at him, we see him taking his head out of a whale's hole, and he's like,
"You gotta try this blowhole thing, man. This whale dude is giving me a brain freeze."
now that's premium silly goose behavior. Especially when you realize that this whale is literally just another guy. This whale is an actual dude. Chicken Joe, in the first 5 seconds of us meeting him, had his head in someone's hole for fun. Just wild. He tells Cody that he's from Lake Michigan. He relates with him and does a bomb ass handshake. He's just chill, dude. Like, look at this sly motherfucker, man. He doesn't even care about what he's wearing. He's just in the moment. It's easy to enjoy a character like Chicken Joe because his presence reminds us that life isn't so serious all of the time. He's captured by a band of cannibals. He doesn't stress at all. He eventually learns their language and becomes their leader. He's just party rocking all of the time. And in films in general, I think it's just so satisfying to have the protagonist be friends with someone who is basically an anthropomorphized version of the transformation awaiting them at the end of the story. Now, because I like this character so much, I was thinking about other characters he reminded me of as well. And I got a few on screen right here. I'm sure there's more, but here they are. These characters are all just the same idea packaged differently. And if you're anything like me, that's the reason why they're all so likable. They each have a sort of uncorrupted view of the world and of themselves. Nothing that they do is out of hatred or malice or ego or envy or anything like that. You could argue that all of these characters act without pride, without their ego in mind. They each display an impressive amount of agency and acceptance. And oh my god, dude, it Seeing a character like this is always just so satisfying because of the symbolism that sort of archetype evokes. I started thinking about how childlike and naive all of these characters within the same archetypal role were. I started searching for symbolism along those lines, and the first concept that stood out to me was the puer aeternus. Puer aeternus refers to the archetype of eternal youth in a person, and it's a Jungian concept that describes the adult who never grew up. That adult who never grew up is often creative, charming, and content, but they do struggle with responsibility and their own expectations when confronted with a new circumstance. They're often reluctant to commit to what they have and reluctant to change. This largely doesn't sound like the archetype of the characters I provided because they often excel in unexpected ways when the chips are truly down, and they excel time and time again. They really don't have any expectations either. They just live life in the moment for the moment. But the attractive components of the puer aeternus do sound like them. All of these characters are charming, they are creative, but most importantly, they project contentment. And then I thought of something else that might be more applicable. The fool archetype represents potential, innocence, and the courage to face the unknown through new experiences and challenges. Now, when I saw this, I was like, okay, we're hitting the nail on the head here. This is a way more accurate comparison, and the passive enjoyment they experience fits just as well. If I could sum up Chicken Joe in a few words, I'd just say he's happy to be there. He views the tumultuous nature of life as something to be enjoyed and experienced, no matter how serious the situation actually is. He views everyone he comes across in much of the same way, like he's ready to meet new people and have new experiences all the time. And the only time I saw him frazzled in the movie is when he was looking for Cody. And that moment speaks to common values and making sure your friends are safe, sure, but he met Cody like 2 days ago at this point in the movie. So rather than using that scene as a way to show that even Chicken Joe can be serious, I think it speaks more about his compassion in general. That even when he has a goal in mind, a serious one is that, to save his friend, he's still able to find himself in situations like being the leader of a cannibalistic tribe. It's as if the craziest things that could happen to a person consistently happen to these sort of characters. Because to these characters, it's all just another Tuesday. Now, I said naive before, but there's a few more reasons why we naturally have an aversion to traits that Chicken Joe and characters like him easily showcase. It's because we want to be people with direction, goals, to prove through everyday action that there's an unquenchable, indomitable fire within that will stop at nothing to reach for more, to burn brighter each day. Now, Chicken Joe doesn't have that fire. It's challenging to assert that he even has agency beyond his archetypal role. Now, it's great to admire Chicken Joe, some might say, but he represents something elusive. He represents something naive. Life doesn't magically work out for someone all the time. Certainly going to be moments we don't find enjoyable that we have to push through. Being zen 24/7 just isn't realistic. But in response to that, I say that Chicken Joe doesn't represent the antithesis of dedication and hard work. He simply just accepts everything that happens and truly doesn't take anything personally. He's an intensely skilled surfer, and to be a skilled surfer, you need to put in a lot of effort. He even ended up winning the contest at the end of the movie. He spent more than a day looking for Cody in the jungle, and there's some dedication right there. And if this shows us anything, it's that he's not letting his ego get in the way of what he thinks or how he acts. He's just simply there. And that's something more beautiful than just nose to the grindstone day in and day out. Anyways, guys, I just watched Surf's Up again and I had to talk about Fowl Joseph. If you like the video, definitely subscribe because there's more on the way. If you really like the video, then join the Discord so you can listen to my sweet, sweet, sensual voice. Peace.